One early summer afternoon in the town of Jasper, Alberta, Canada, the peaceful scene was broken by an emergency. The Animal Rescue Center had received a call from a resident living near the vast and icy Maligny Lake. The caller reported that a red fox was struggling in the middle of the lake and could sink at any moment. Adam, an experienced member of the rescue team, immediately put on a life jacket, grabbed a net, and rushed to the boat. Maligny Lake sparkled in the late afternoon sunlight, its small waves making it difficult to spot anything. After a while of searching, he discovered a small red dot floating on the water, struggling weakly in the cold. The fox was exhausted, its four legs kicking wildly before weakening, its head dipping with every strong wave. Adam skillfully maneuvered the boat closer, reached out with the net, and pulled it from the rushing water. Water dripped from its soaked red fur, streaking down Adam's arms as he held the tiny life. The fox's eyes were filled with panic and fear, but its body was too weak to resist. Adam held it close to his chest, his steady breathing helping it stop shaking. The rescue boat returned to shore, carrying a small life that had just escaped the brink of death. At the Jasper Rescue Center, Adam quickly wrapped the fox in a thick fur blanket to keep it warm. The veterinarian examined it carefully and concluded that it suffered only from hypothermia and severe exhaustion. The team named it Raya, symbolizing light and hope after hardship. At first, Raya was very alert, huddled in the corner of her cage, her eyes following every movement. Adam patiently sat nearby, speaking softly and helping her grow accustomed to humans. He brought small pieces of boiled meat and placed them near her nest, waiting for her to gain the confidence to eat. On the third day, Raya finally approached the food, even though Adam was still sitting right outside. A week later, she began to walk slowly around the care room, her fur dry and her eyes brighter. Adam felt a special connection, as if Raya somehow knew who had saved her. One quiet evening, she came closer and gently touched her nose to his hand before retreating back to her nest. That fragile gesture of trust told him she saw him as a safe place. Rescuers noticed that Raya was always calmer and more comfortable whenever Adam was around. After a month, Adam decided to bring Raya to his cabin so he could care for her more closely. Adam's small cabin sat on the edge of the Jasper forest, surrounded by tall pine trees and a babbling brook. He prepared a warm nest near a large window where the morning sun poured in. Raya quickly got used to her new home, often lying in the sunlight and observing the forest. In the afternoons, Adam took her for walks along the forest edge, letting her feel the freedom of open nature. Raya soon recognized Adam's familiar call and often turned back when she heard his footsteps. Although she still retained her wild instincts, she no longer feared the safety of his arms. Adam gave her a soft leather collar with a small name tag, her own mark of identity. At night, when he read by the fireplace, Raya curled at his feet, breathing evenly and peacefully. Once, when Adam fell ill, Raya refused to leave his side, her eyes following his every movement. Their bond grew silently but firmly. Adam knew the day would come when Raya needed to return to the wild. As the wildflowers bloomed across Jasper Forest, he understood it was time. He led Raya deep into the woods, where peace and food were plentiful. With trembling hands, he removed her collar and gently stroked her thick fur. Raya stood still for a moment, her eyes shining in the soft spring sunlight. She didn't leave immediately but looked back at him for a long time, as if memorizing him. Finally, she turned and slipped quietly into the deep green forest. Adam remained there, listening to the rustling wind merging with the heaviness in his heart. Returning home, he saw the empty space where Raya used to lie. Even so, he believed she would live freely and strongly in nature. Every morning, his eyes drifted to the edge of the forest with a quiet, fragile hope. Winter in Jasper was harsh. Snow covered the roof and the path leading to his cabin. One cold night, as Adam lit the fire, a soft scratching sound came from the wooden door. At first, he thought it was the wind, but the sound repeated, steady and intentional. He opened the door, and his eyes froze at the familiar silhouette standing in the snow. It was Raya, her fur thick and shiny, her eyes still bright. Behind her stood 3 tiny foxes, trembling but brave. Raya stepped onto the porch, shaking snow from her fur, her gaze fixed on Adam with absolute trust. The cubs approached when they saw their mother standing calmly beside the man. The sight filled Adam's heart with emotion, like a winter miracle. His wooden cabin became a shelter for an entire fox family. Adam transformed a corner of the garage into a warm den for Raya and her cubs. He spread a soft blanket, placed a bowl of clean water, and prepared fresh meat every day. At first, the cubs only ate when Adam left, their eyes still cautious. But slowly, they learned to come closer, copying the trust their mother had shown him. On some nights, all three climbed onto his bed, curling at his feet, their warm breath filling the room with life. He named them Flare, Nib, and Luna, each name inspired by the winter landscape. The wooden house soon filled with the sound of tiny footsteps racing across the floor, bringing an unusual warmth to the long winter. Adam recorded every moment with his camera and kept a diary, calling them his snow children. He contacted a conservation expert in Jasper National Park to prepare for their eventual release, but there was no hurry. This winter, the whole family needed to stay together. Raya often stood by the window, gazing toward the snowy forest. Adam would quietly place his hand on her back, feeling their wordless connection. The winter passed in rare warmth amid the northern cold. When the snow melted and spring returned, Adam led Raya and her 3 cubs deep into the Jasper forest. He watched as they took their first steps into the wild, his heart full of trust. Raya looked back one last time, her eyes full of gratitude. The silhouettes of the fox family gradually disappeared into the endless green of the forest. Since then, every winter, Adam leaves his door slightly ajar, waiting for another reunion.